I'm Chris Lewis, firefighter for the Lakeville Fire Department, and welcome to another edition of On Call. The goal of this program is to educate and inform the citizens of Lakeville about how their all-volunteer fire department trains and responds to emergencies. Let's take a look at what's coming up on this edition of On Call. We head on down to Air Lake Airport and visit North Air Care about their air ambulance and find out what it takes to operate this important emergency aircraft. Next, Fire Chief Mike Meyer highlights some off-road equipment we use here at the fire department. Then firefighter Tabor Aiken from Station 2 answers a viewer question in Ask the Firefighter. I will get you caught up on the latest happenings around the fire department. And Scratch the Fire Dog has announced his retirement. But don't worry, you will find out who will be taking his spot. It's a common sight to see in town. North Memorial's air ambulance flying overhead going to and from Air Lake Airport. North has based one of its helicopters here since 2006, flying weather permitting 24/7 to transport people who need immediate medical care as quickly as possible. Today we're down at Air Lake Airport in Lakeville, and joining us is Michael, who flies from North Memorial Air. Michael, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Nice to be here.
You are the pilot for the helicopter, am I right?
That's correct.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into flying or your history?
Sure. Grew up in Hastings. Learned how to fly in Oregon. Did my civilian flight training up there. After completing that, did some instruction in Sacramento, California. And after about a year and a half of that, was down flying out to oil rigs in the Gulf of Mexico. After that stint, I was doing offshore oil support in Santa Maria, California. And luckily enough, a job opened up here after that, and I've been here for about coming up on 3 years.
All helicopters?
All helicopters.
All right. So why don't you tell us a little bit about this one here? What is the difference between this and other helicopters?
Sure.
And what it's like to fly?
Sure. This is an Augusta A109C model. It's an Italian helicopter. It is one of the fastest commercial aircraft operating in America. It's a twin-engine helicopter. Each engine has about 450 shaft horsepower. Some of the things that makes this aircraft unique is its ability to fly a single pilot IFR. We're able to fly in inclement weather where other aircraft might not be able to by use of instrumentation.
Okay, so I know that when I'm on scenes with like car accidents or some pretty major medicals, that's when we call you guys up.
Sure.
So why don't you tell me what the procedure is like when you get the call?
Well, when we get the call from our dispatch, we have to assess weather's the big issue, and if weather conditions are suitable, we will launch to that scene. Once we're airborne and close enough to the scene, we'll get up on a radio frequency that can communicate with ground contact. The crew in the back is kind of communicating with them. I'm flying, and there's some critical bits of information we need about that scene situation. Obstacles are a big deal. We have a ground contact kind of walk the area to make sure there isn't anything on our approach or departure path. Once we get there, we'll do a high recon, and we'll do a low recon just to make sure that the pilot and the crew in the back, if able, are able to just kind of take note of what's going on the surface. Then from there, we'll land. They usually have some stoplights or little lights on the ground during the nighttime hours, and some folks kind of guarding the LZ. One of the things that we really watch out for is the tail rotor. It's spinning at such a high velocity that it's invisible. Mm-hmm. So we really got to guard the area around the helicopter. And then from there, same thing as in the way out. We're making sure that the area is clear, there's no people around, and we'll depart to whatever hospital we're going to.
All right, Michael, now we're looking in the cockpit. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what we see in here about your area of the
Sure, it's a tight fit. As you can see, we have a patient that's directly to my left.
So
I
when
don't-
you get paged, how long does it take from tones to in the air, typically?
It depends. You know, we try to stay within 10 minutes of the call, gear up 10 minutes within the call. When we're flying IFR, sometimes it takes a little bit longer to file a flight plan and to check weather.
Okay. And then I know that we're down here at Air Lake. How many other bases are there around Minnesota or that you guys?
Sure. North has a base in Redwood Falls, one in Princeton and Brainerd, and our maintenance base is in Crystal. So,
All right. And then what kind of flights, what are your most common calls that you guys go on?
our most common calls are inter-facility transport. So we'll be picking up a patient at a hospital and transporting them to a hospital that's more capable of addressing their issues.
Okay, perfect. Well, Michael, thanks for telling us about your role with the helicopter. Now I'm talking to Rob. He is the flight paramedic with North Memorial. Rob, thanks for joining us. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this?
Well, I'm one of the flight paramedics here for North Air Care. And in addition to working the helicopter, I still work in 911 ambulance, which I have for 28 years.
Okay.
So I've been here on the helicopter for 19 years. And then I'm one half of the crew, so we have a flight paramedic and a flight nurse that work in the back.
Okay, so what's the difference between a paramedic and a nurse?
Yeah, paramedic nationally is more trauma-related, packaging, so 911 emergency, first on scene kind of skills, where nursing is more longer-term, multi-system, critical care patients. And having that complement with the nurse also gives us the ability in the helicopter to provide a whole regiment of different medications that paramedics wouldn't be authorized to administer.
Okay. So, and is every crew like that you work with? Or?
For North Memorial, yeah, we do one paramedic and one nurse, so we think the two disciplines really complement each other. Based on if we're doing a transfer interfacility from an ICU to an ICU, or if we're doing a scene flight with the ground ambulance. And here in this area, we're covered by a LINA, and line ambulance is all paramedics, so we interface with them pretty naturally.
Excellent, excellent. And then are you just based out of Air Lake here, or do you rotate around?
Yeah, our crews are actually assigned a main base. And then within the system, we do have a number of casual people that will float to fill in for sick calls or vacation times. So there's opportunities to work other places, but I personally am assigned here at Lakeville.
Okay, excellent. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the back of the helicopter?
Yeah, so basically we're a passenger aircraft that's reconfigured for a medical design with a medical interior. So the passenger seats would have come out, and we've put in a modular bracket to accommodate a stretcher. So this articulates out at a 45 so that this bracket will slide in and out for the patient if we're coming from the hospital or with the ambulance. And then it just articulates in. Feet would rest up where the pilot co-seat would have been, and then the head, neck, chest, the main core of the patient is with us. The paramedic and the nurse sometimes will switch sides depending on which type of patient or whose turn it is to write the chart. Typically on each flight, one of us does the documentation, although we both provide patient intervention.
Is there a weight or a size limit? Because I can see this area here is really pretty snug.
We are definitely built for speed, not comfort. So for the flight crews, we have to be under 200 pounds, and that's in uniform. And for the patient, we don't have a weight requirement, but we do have a girth, because we have to make sure that they can fit within our seat belts and other securing devices based on the FAA requirements. So our seat belt will accommodate 60 to 62 inch girth.
Okay, and ideally, we're there first with the ground medics, and we're just packaging somebody up, trying to prevent things from getting worse.
The two things we rely on the most for scene flights is, number one, someone on that scene securing the landing zone so that we can land safely. And secondly is to have a crew that's begun to stabilize and package the patient for transport. So depending on how soon we are there, or how extensive the injuries, if a patient in a vehicle accident needs to be extricated, that time can vary. But we like to have the IVs in and the airway secured before we come into the helicopter, because you can see we can do all of those interventions. It's just not as practical to do it during flight as it is in the back of the ambulance. So usually those things are done prior, because most of our services here are all ALS, so the paramedics can provide those skills. As we go outstate to other services that don't have paramedics, then sometimes we're providing those skills in the back of the ambulance.
And you being on an ambulance and a flight medic, I mean, is there Do you have to
there's-
think differently, you know, when you're in the back? Or
I do think differently. What's unique here is we're typically not the first on the scene. So a lot of the stuff has already been taken care of, or at least it's been initiated. So at that point, depending on the ambulance service, again here in Lakeville, it's a LINA, and those paramedics have got the IVs in, they've got the patient intubated, somewhat stabilized, or if not, we know what else they need to do that we can help them with. Whereas when I respond on the 911 ambulance, I get there first. So it's just kind of that time mentality that changes for the patient acuity. And majority of our flights are transfers, so those patients have somewhat been stabilized at a local hospital. We're spending most of our time changing over the equipment to make them portable, switching over the monitors, switching over the IV medications, getting the paperwork secured for the receiving hospital. Whereas with a scene flight, it's all bets off, depending on what kind of condition the patient's in and what type of scene we're going to.
Well, Rob, thanks for showing us the helicopter and explaining to us the difference between this and an ambulance and what you guys do. And it's good to know that you guys are so close.
Thanks for having us.
When we come back, Fire Chief Mike Meyer shows us some off-road equipment we use here at the fire department.
Welcome to another edition of Chief's Corner. I'm Fire Chief Mike Meyer, and today I'm joined by Station 4 Captain Kevin Needham. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you for having me.
Today we're going to talk about some of the specialty equipment we have on Lakeville Fire Department, and we're going to start with the boat. So if you can tell us a little bit about what we use the boat for, Kevin.
All right, we have a Zodiac style inflatable type of boat here. It's about 12 foot long. We use that for rescues and just going assisting boaters that are having issues or actual rescue situations.
Okay. And that we keep that in the bay year-round as far as that goes?
Right, we keep that in the bay. When it's subject to cold weather or storage, it sometimes likes to deflate a little bit. So we like to keep that close so we can keep an eye on it.
Okay. And then the other piece of equipment behind us here is our Kubota. What do we use that for?
Kubota is used for brush fires, anything out in terrain that is impassable for just a standard type vehicle.
Okay. And then I guess the one thing that we can see that's different from what you'd normally see on a UTV or on this is that we have tracks, and that's new to us this year. So
right.
Tell me a little bit why we did that.
Yeah, we converted from wheels, actual rubber wheels, to tracks, just to improve the mobility and getting into areas that the wheels may get stuck in.
Okay. And then I guess the one thing to note is that we used to have a snowmobile, so that was part of our conversion with the tracks.
Right. Yeah, we've really eliminated the need for the snowmobile. With this, it's pretty much a year-round vehicle. In the fall, once the threat of any brush fires goes away, we'll drain the tank to make sure if we do use it in the snow, we won't have any freeze-up issues on our pump.
All right, Kevin, we saw how it comes off the trailer, so let's go a little bit more in depth about what it is, what kind of brand it is, and what we can use it for.
All right. It's a Kubota ATV, all-terrain vehicle. It has capacity for 2 firefighters that can seatbelt in, which we require. And then it'll go off-road for various numbers of things, whether it be a rescue, somebody that's maybe ambulatory, that maybe has a hurt ankle or something, that we can put them in the seat, belt them in, and then bring them out of the situation to more care. Or brush fires, we do have a skid on the back that has an 80-gallon tank with a pump. It's got 100 feet of 3/4-inch booster line. It's got some additional hose, so yeah, the harder to reach areas for a conventional truck, brush truck, this will be able to reach those.
All right. And we've used this in other situations as far as we've been to Egan down in the river bottoms to help them with fires.
And that could be challenging with the tracks. It'll make that easier to handle.
Those bog areas or swamp areas where we can't get a truck into, this is where this is going to come in handy.
Correct.
So we kind of mentioned that it can go off-road with the tracks. It goes deeper than most places that an ATV will go. What happens if we get into a place that we get stuck with it?
Well, we do have a winch on the front, and so if we can find a tree or something to hook to, we can hook the cable to the winch, or the winch cable to the tree, and then pull ourselves out with the winch.
All right. And we have used that in the past as far as, like when I mentioned the Egan, as far as down in the river bottoms, we did get this stuck down there on
Correct.
tires. So even with the tracks, we've experienced it over the winter using it, that we did get it stuck.
Right. And that, that will allow us to be a little creative on getting out of that stuck situation. So.
All right. Well, that wraps up for this Chief's Corner. Thanks for joining me, Kevin.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Chief. It's been a busy summer here at the fire department, including a few structure fires. If you remember, early in the summer, we had a lot of stormy weather. Several homes were hit by lightning, which resulted in calls of service from the fire department. One such strike happened one early morning in the Valley Lake part of town. Lightning hit a house, and then the electricity traveled underground along gas lines to other nearby homes, setting them on fire. Crews immediately started to get the blazes under control, but this was a difficult call as there were multiple houses on fire. Firefighters from all 4 stations responded, along with mutual aid from the Apple Valley Fire Department. Good news is, with all this, no one was injured from the incident. Another structure fire that occurred this summer was also during a rain event, but this time the weather was not the cause. The call came in at about 8 a.m. for a garage on fire off Foliage Avenue in northern Lakeville. When first responders arrived, they found the garage fully involved. Shortly after firefighters from Station 2 arrived, they started working on the fire. This structure was part of a group of townhouses, and the fire quickly spread to the homes. Firefighters from all 4 stations responded, along with the mutual aid from Apple Valley Fire Department. LFD has responded to several garbage fires this summer. One such event happened when a garbage hauler noticed smoke coming from the back of his truck. He quickly realized that the garbage was on fire and dumped the load to prevent losing the truck. Firefighters responded to the scene and put out the fire. There have been a few garbage container fires like this one at Antlers Park. Some park goers noticed smoke coming out of the dumpster and called 911. Firefighters from Station 1 responded to the scene and proceeded to extinguish the fire. It seems that someone thought it would be a good idea to dispose of used charred coal into the dumpster. If you need to get rid of charcoal or other burnable material, make sure you let them cool for 48 hours and spraying them with water before disposal. LFD held its annual waffle breakfast this summer. Over 1,700 people came to Station 1 to enjoy all the waffles they could eat. This event is the only public fundraiser for our Relief Association, and all the firefighters would like to thank everyone that came out to support the department. Station 2 held its annual neighborhood open house recently. Here's interim captain Tabor Aiken with something else special that happened at the open house.
This year we added another element that we're calling Solidarity Shaves. A member of the fire department family has been diagnosed with cancer, started chemotherapy, and has decided that she's not letting cancer win, and jumped right in right away by getting her head shaved so she didn't have to wait for her hair to fall out from the chemotherapy. Many members of the fire department family decided that we would join in with her to show solidarity and shave our heads, and in fact, showing solidarity for a couple members of the fire department family who are fighting cancer. So we've nicknamed ourselves Amanda's Army, but we're representing a couple members of the fire department family who are also struggling with this illness and working hard to fight it. In addition to shaving heads, we've got both men and women shaving our heads. Some folks taking it down with clippers, other folks taking it down with razor and shaving cream. We are also doing a fundraiser and selling some wristbands to raise money that we can donate to the family to use for some of those costs that are unexpected but come up along the way. So in addition to providing support for the family, we're having a lot of fun and building some camaraderie amongst the group.
And that's just some of the things happening around the fire department.
lives. A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
Hi, I'm Tabor Aiken, interim captain at Lakeville Station 2, and our question comes from Andy in Elko Newmarket. And Andy would like to know, how come the fire department responds to car accidents when extrication is not needed? Andy, great question. Thanks for sending that in to us. The fire department responds initially based on whatever the reporting party is indicating. So whoever's calling 911, oftentimes they might be driving by, they might not know what's happening, so they might give the best impression. They might think someone's injured. The dispatch center is going to use whatever information they can get from the caller to get the appropriate resources on the road. That's typically almost always police in the case of a car accident. If they think there's an injury, then they'll start the paramedics as well as the fire department for assistance with vehicle extrication, patient care, fluid cleanup, and anything else that might be needed. Frequently when we do get there, their patient care may be needed. They may not need to be extricated, but they may need assistance getting out of the vehicle and getting into an ambulance, or getting out of the vehicle and getting into another vehicle and perhaps going home or being driven to the hospital by someone else. Oftentimes you may see firefighters standing around, or it looks like they're standing around, and oftentimes waiting to do scene cleanup, waiting for the tow truck to come, remove the vehicle so that we can clean up the area and get it open back up to traffic. It really depends on each scene, depends on each scenario or accident, whatever's happening. We want to provide the best possible service, the best possible response we can. Hopefully that helps answer your question, Andy. Thanks for sending that in. And if, like Andy out in Elko Newmarket, you have a question, feel free to send that in to us. You can use the email address on the screen or give us a call at 952-985-4700. Thanks.
It is I, Scratch the fire dog, because I like to scratch you out of the fires. Hey, I got some good news. Well, good news for me. Hey, Scratch is retiring. I put in my time, and now I'm ready to collect my dog biscuits from the department. But hey, don't worry. My nephew, Spot, is a great person who can take over for my job. And actually, he sounds a lot like me. So tell you what, let's give him a call here. I'm going to use my phone here. Call Spot. Oh. Hey, that's pretty good. I love technology. I'm gonna talk to Spot and tell him all about the good news. Hey, Spot, it's your Uncle Scratch. Hey, Uncle Scratch, how you doing? Hey, I'm doing pretty good. How are you? Hey, I'm doing the fantastic. Hey, well, it's good to talk to you. I got some good news to share with you. Hey, well, what would that be? Well, I've decided I got to retire from the department, and I thought you would be a great person to take over for me. What do you think? Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I thought so too. It's a good idea. So tell you what you need to do, you need to talk with Jay O'Connell, the fire inspector, and he'll take you on a tour of all the fire stations so you kind of get up to speed pretty quick. What do you think of that? Ah, that's a great idea. Ah, I thought that would be a good idea too. So you meet him at Fire Station 1, and we'll get the things going, okay? Ah, thanks a lot, Uncle Scratch, and I won't let you down. Ah, I don't know how you can. You're a family member, and I know where you live. So take care there, Spot. Hey, you take care too, Uncle Scratch. Hey, he's a good boy, but I gotta tell you, he kind of talks so funny. Hey, I'm gonna enjoy my retirement. Take care, everyone. I'm going to get a suntan. Hey, Mr. O'Connell, it's me, Spot, the hopefully new fire dog. How are you, man?
How are you doing, Spot?
Hey, I'm doing very good. Hey, I'm taking over for my Uncle Scratch here in the Lakeville Fire Department, and I was hoping that you could maybe take me on some tours of the fire stations here in Lakeville.
Sure. Well, did you know we have 4 fire stations?
I did know that.
Okay, well, this is Fire Station 1. If you want to go in, we can take a look at some of the trucks.
Hey, let's start at the very beginning. Go from 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll be so excited.
All right.
Let's do it, man. Here we go. Hey, Mr. O'Connell, oh, this is my favorite part. I love all of the fire trucks. Can you tell me what about some of these trucks?
Well, the first truck we have is our rescue truck. which we take on car accidents, heart attacks.
Dogs?
Dogs stuck in the water, we can take that. We got our tender, which we can bring water to areas where we don't have fire hydrants, which is kind of bad for you.
Did you have to use meat tenderizer on that one to make it a tender?
No, we did not.
Okay, good.
It's a water tender.
Oh,
I should have
okay.
clarified for you.
No, that's okay.
So we bring water to the fire with this one for the farm fields. Then we got our pumper truck here, and then in the last bay we've got our ladder truck, 100-foot ladder truck.
And hey, there's the famous bell on the front that my Uncle Scratch said is very important to the department.
Yes, that lets people know that we're coming up behind them and to pull over so we can get to the emergency scene faster.
Very good. Anything else here that you want to show me here at Station 1?
We have a brush truck in the back corner. If you want to walk through the station, we can see that.
Oh, good, because my fur needs to be brushed. Let's go. Hey, Mr. O'Connell! Oh, hey, this is very cool being inside the fire station. And is this where I get my fur brushed?
Yes, we've got it right here. This is the brush truck.
Oh, very nice. What does a brush truck do, Mr. O'Connell?
We take this one for grass fires out in the farm fields, or if we're out in a park and when someone starts the grass on fire, we can do that.
Oh, why would somebody do that?
Well, with this truck, we can go off-road.
Oh.
So that we can get into the back areas. Like you said, your question was if someone starts a fire.
Yeah.
Maybe a kid would be playing with matches.
Oh, that's very bad.
That would start a fire.
That's be very bad. And this is small enough to get in the back where your big trucks, the tenderizer one, couldn't fit back there, could it?
The water tender, yep, that would sink if we took it off-road.
Hey, I gotta ask you, how come there's so many doors open into this place?
Oh, the reason we leave the doors open is so we can get into the trucks faster.
Oh, and is that important doing the fire stuff to do things fast?
Especially since we're a volunteer fire department, because all the firefighters are coming from their jobs during the day or from their bedrooms if they're sleeping. And they need to drive their car here to the station, then get in their gear and get on the truck.
Very good. Well, Mr. O'Connell, can we go see station number 2?
Station number 2, let's go.
Hey, Mr. O'Connell, we've now moved to station number 2. I'm a dog, so where is this located? I'm not very good with directions.
We're at Dodd and Flagstaff in the northeast corner of the city.
Now, I noticed there's fewer bays and fewer trucks here. Why is that, Mr. O'Connell?
Well, this serves a smaller territory. So we have one pumper truck like we had at Station 1.
Yeah?
We've got a brush truck like you saw at Station 1.
I like brush
And then
trucks.
we've got a combination truck, which is a pumper rescue truck. It's got our rescue truck tools right on it.
Do you ever forget the combination of the combination truck so you can't get in it or use it?
It's a secret. We don't tell anybody.
Oh, this is some exciting information, Mr. O'Connell. But I'm wondering, can we go to fire station number 3 now?
Yes, we can. Let's go.
Which way?
That way.
This way? Here we go. Follow me. Hey, Mr. O'Connell, 1, 2, 3. Hey, we're at fire station number 3, lucky number 3. What can you tell me about this station, sir?
Well, this is the smallest of the 4 stations.
Yeah?
We only have 3 garage bays on this station. So we've got the pumper truck, just like at the other stations. We've got a rescue truck, and we've got a small brush truck, which will be replaced sometime later this year.
Very good. Now, what is the average amount of firefighters at each station?
Well, if we were at full capacity, we'd have 20 firefighters at stations 2, 3, and 4, and we'd have 30 firefighters at Station 1.
Ah, very good. And that's right, you guys are all volunteers, aren't you? You're not full-time.
You're correct. Nobody sleeps at the fire station.
I could.
You could, but
I?
nobody would come to feed you then.
Oh, that would be terrible. Well, any other highlights you want to let us know? Because where is fire station number 3 located? It's close to Fleet Farm, isn't it?
That's right, Spot. It's south of Fleet Farm by the roundabout on Kenrick Avenue.
Well, hey, we did 1, 2, 3. Can we try number 4, Mr. O'Connell, please?
Yes, number 4.
All right, let's go see it.
Alrighty.
Oh, Mr. O'Connell, hey, we're in fire station number 4. Oh, it's so great that you've taken me to see all these stations, but hey, this is a very interesting looking station. What can you tell me about station 4 here, Mr. O'Connell?
Well, Station 4 is in the center of the city, so we have a few unique vehicles that the other stations do not have.
Yeah.
Right behind us, you see our boat.
Okay, why does a fire station need a boat for all those fires on the water?
Well, we do get a few boats on fire.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Mainly for rescue. A car will drive into a pond, and then we will use the boat to get out there to help somebody get rescued. You get a water ski that breaks a leg, we need to go out there and help that person.
Sure, well, how about this one? This one looks like it has funny tracks on it. It looks like it's a tank.
This is our ATV.
Yeah.
It does have tracks on it, and the tracks are used for getting through the snow or heavy mud, so we could get back into some swampy areas that we have in town. It does have a water tank on it, so we can use it kind of like a brush truck, put out small fires out in the grass and swampy areas.
Good. And over here, I bet you have a brush and a tender and a meat thermometer, right?
Nope.
No.
This is station number 4. So we have a pumper rescue, which is a combo truck. And then we have ladder 4, which is way over on the far side.
Okay.
That truck is going to be replaced hopefully this winter, and we will have a new vehicle for you to look at.
Now, is that combo one anything like a combo platter at Culver's?
No, not like Culver's.
No.
We use that
Wendy's?
for car rescue and for pumping.
Oh, I got it, I got it. Well, very good, Mr. O'Connell. Well, thank you so much for showing me all of this stuff today.
But Spot, we got one more thing to show you.
You do? Well,
Yeah, the administrative offices.
but,
Are you excited about that?
very.
I think you will. We've got a surprise for you.
You got a surprise for me? Well, then I want to see it, I want to see it, I want to see it.
All right, let's go.
This is more exciting than I thought, Mr. O'Connell. This administrative area is very cool, and such pleasant, happy workers in the background.
Yep, we do. But right here is our trophy case with some of our history.
Very good. And what have you got here in your hand?
This was what I was talking about. This is the official shirt that you can wear when you're on call.
Oh, is this for me, Mr. O'Connell?
It is.
Oh, I love it, I love it. I've always wanted an LFD t-shirt ever since I was a little pup, seeing my Uncle Scratch go on the fires. Oh, thank you so much. How can I ever repay you, Mr. O'Connell?
You need to call me Jay.
Oh, I'll do that. You bet, Mr. O'Connell. I'll call you Jay.
You
Very
just
good.
called me Mr. O'Connell.
Oh, I know, Mr. O'Connell. I'm trying to be respectful.
Call me Jay.
I could call you Jay. How about if I call you Ray J?
No, if you call me Mr. O'Connell, I take the shirt back.
Oh, okay, Jay.
All right,
All
we're
right,
on the
that's
same
pretty-
page.
Well, thank you so much for taking me on the tour. And hey, everybody, this is Spot the Dog, because I love to spot the fires. So we'll see you next time here on the show. Hey, Jake, when do we come over here? It looks like there's some good caramel rolls over here. Let's see if we can have some of those.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of On Call. If you have questions, comments, an idea for the program, or would like to send a question in for Ask the Firefighter, please call 952-985-4700 or send an email to the address at the bottom of your screen. Thanks for joining us, and all fire units are clear.